What's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, if my boo thing is in there, she better be sharing. That's all I gotta say.
Yes, I see a lot of comments already coming in. Appreciate everybody for tuning in right now. A lot of our regulars in there already. I see Kendrick Fulton with the jokes. He says, Producer G finally doesn't look like he's 15 anymore. Yes, got the big beard going on. You guys ain't seen me in some months. A lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down here in Southern California, sunny as hell. Nice weather.
It never rains in Southern California. I don't know if you're there, but you're in San Diego out there banging. I was out in San Diego, so I can attest to the weather being great, the scenery being beautiful. When we touched down out there, because we went out to training camp, when we touched down out there, just leaving the airport and seeing all the water and the buildings, I love some damn California for real. Excuse me.
Yes, yes. Very nice. Especially a big change from being in Ohio. But let me give a few shout outs before we get going. We're going to be talking some Cowboys draft today. Big Game James has some players he projects to be picked with the Cowboys picks coming up. We don't have too many of them this season that you've been calling the luxury draft. So, but before we get started, let me say what's up to Diego Mestez, Jeremy Clowney, Jawan James, Terry Turner, Willie Stovall, James Nooks, and Net's in there now. Keith Howard, what's going on? Appreciate you guys. So keep the comments coming, and we'll give you the shout-outs. We're on Facebook on Silver and Blue Nation and Cowboys Experience as well. But let's just go ahead and start getting into it then. Like I said, we are going to be talking draft. And the
Yeah.
Cowboys don't have a first-round pick this year after the Amari Cooper deal last season, which took the Cowboys' first-round pick. So now we're drafting second round, and let me go ahead and put the draft picks up here so people can see what the Cowboys are working with. And then you can dive right in as to who you think some prospects are the Cowboys might really be considering right there at that 58th pick.
Okay. Well, first, before I say anything, we're gonna tell how it really happened. Everybody out there be doing 75,000 mock drafts like all day. Like, the only reason why they do these mock drafts, I don't care. Anybody tell me, the only reason why they do these mock drafts is because they bored. Ain't nothing else to do. You got the whole off season. Ain't no football going on. You ain't nothing. You ain't got nothing to talk about. So that's why they started doing these mock, because it takes up all the time and you just got something to talk about every single day. That's why they do this, man, because this is a guessing game. I don't care what anybody says, unless you are like in the Cowboys headquarters, you're guessing. I don't care. We've seen so many of these top dogs get it wrong. Have we not?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
100% true.
the best of the best get it wrong. So this is just a guessing game, and like I said, unless you're near the Cowboys headquarters, unless you're actually in there, you don't know. Unless you're like a super Cowboys insider and have a good feel, you don't know. So what I do is I woke up, you hit me up because I wasn't gonna do no mock this year. You feel me? I wasn't gonna try to do it. I was gonna look at the players because I'm like, man, this mock is crazy because it's a luxury draft, just like we talked about, G, right? Because we got a good free agency coup with the guys that we brought in, right? So with that being said, it was like, I don't know. Then G hit me up like in the morning, like, "What's up, dog? We doing the mock today, right?" I said, "What?"
I mean, I think people want to know, like, who are the Cowboys really considering right there? I know a lot of fans want a safety. I think that's a big need, maybe one of the biggest needs for the team. So what do you
Yeah.
think they're going to be doing there?
Well, my personal opinion, I have been going back and forth. Is it going to be it's going to be probably a safety if it falls like that with these certain players. And the main reason why I'm saying that is because we understand that they're probably not going to take a defensive tackle with that first pick. They've never really done it in a very long time. Even though it's a second round pick, they're not going to try to go that high because they view that, and plus they stacked up the defensive tackle position with Covington, and then you got Woods and Ross, and then Collins. So that doesn't seem like you would go that route at 58. So safety has been the huge thing that's been going on. Three names that'll jump out to you. First, I think we got Juan Thornhill. You see, right on time. Juan Thornhill. Now, his name has been talked about, quite a bit. Okay, but and I even talked about him when we did the YouTube show. I said 58 is safety going to be the pick. We talked about a whole bunch of safeties, named about 7 of them. Juan Thornhill was my third guy, and the reason why I'm saying is because he does pretty much everything. He had like a career high 98 tackles, 6 interceptions, can play the ball really, really good, and can play both spots. He can play the free, he can play the strong, but I just didn't think he was really physical enough, G. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got the all-world size, 6 foot, about 205 pounds. People were comparing him to Byron Jones because he ran a 4, he's got 4.4 speed, hit like a 43-inch vertical, had a great like broad jump, so athletically off the charts, especially position that you want. And he had 14 interceptions, I believe, at the University of Virginia, 6 this past season, 4 in his junior year. So he's a guy that can play the ball, right?
So you think he could be like a first-round pick, possibly?
Exactly. So that's and a lot of people are, people weren't talking about him. I don't think it was a real. People were pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, but now his name is just really out there, and people are really seeing his skills and how versatile he is. Like I said, he can tackle. Had 98 tackles his last year of playing with Virginia, and you could see him all 3 years he grew. And I seen a little profile on this kid, and he's one of them guys where he's pressed. He really wants to be a first-round pick. He said that's why he came back to school. He played his butt off to be a first-round pick. So I know, number one, he'll be disappointed, and I think he's just rose with his size and his speed. So that's why I was thinking the Cowboys could get him, but I just don't think he's going to be around at 58.
Yeah, it's great. You don't see a lot of top-notch safeties nowadays. But I was thinking even recently back to like Troy Polamalu's, the Sean Taylors, Ed Reeds, those kind of guys. You don't find those kind of guys anymore. It's just not too many of them.
And the safety – go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Now, the safety position now, Gil Brandt was up because, the Cowboys honor Gil Brandt because, he was with the Cowboys and, he's going in the what is it, the Ring of Honor? Ring of Honor. Yeah, so we know about Gil Brandt, right? And he was out there saying when he was sitting with Stephen Jones and them, saying that this is one of the deepest safety classes out there. So you can see that you would want to go after safety in the beginning, but it could still fall to where they could grab a safety in the end because it's a deep class, right? Mm-hmm. But what we're going on right here for the 58th pick, I went with this certain person. We can go to him here in a minute. There's the quandary. Jonathan Abrams, Taylor Rapp.
Real quick, before we move on to that, because that's a good segue, but we have a little bit of a nugget, kind of like breaking news, I guess. Not breaking news for us, but it relates to the Cowboys. Just a little nugget. It's not nothing that matters for us at all, and it's a safety. The Falcons signed J.J. Wilcox, former Cowboy. Just thought I'd throw that in there. A little Cowboy nugget that just came across.
Man, please.
And if you guys are leaving us comments, we appreciate it. We want to get to everybody's comments and questions, but we need likes and shares. If you guys can give us shares in the other Cowboys groups, invite other Cowboys friends, we appreciate that. Also, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Are we still gonna try to do a show this evening? A nightcap?
We're gonna still try to do a nightcap tonight.
Do a nightcap tonight over there on YouTube. So make sure you guys are subscribed there so you're not missing any action here, as we're trying to bring a lot more content. We were talking about my background behind me here before the show started. He's got the nice Cowboys flag. I don't have nothing yet, but I'm just getting settled in over here in California, and that stuff will be coming and we'll be looking real sharp. But for right now, it is what it is. But we're just talking Cowboys, so let's go ahead then and keep it on the subject. You were talking about the debate.
Yes, here's the debate for me. Now, I've seen other people bring up like Darnell Savage, Marnie Hooker. Now, he's not going to go that high as far as Hooker, but these guys, there's a lot of other safeties. Harris from Boston College. It's a lot of safeties out here. Garner Johnson from Florida, but he plays a lot in the slot too. Talk with Voch. He thinks he's more of a corner. But there's a lot of safeties in this draft. But when you're looking at these two players for a 58th pick, if the Cowboys would go there, because like I said, I think Thornhill's going to be gone. This is the quandary because a lot of people like Taylor Rapp. I like Taylor Rapp. I mean, he can do a lot of things for you. Taylor Rapp, but we go segue with him. Taylor Rapp played 3 years. He was a freshman All-American. 6 foot, got the good size, 200 pounds, about 208 pounds. Like I said, 3-year starter. Averaging coverage, but what he's really good in is run support and open field tackling. If you watched a lot of his tape, he plays good close at the line of scrimmage, averaged about 60 tackles a season, had about a couple of interceptions, so not a super ball hawk. I think he lost a few interceptions where he should have grabbed, where they kind of bounced off of him breaking up the pass. So you could see where he kind of left a few of them balls on the field. But as far as him playing close to the line of scrimmage, he's good. I believe he can play the tight against a tight end, like how Byron Jones was doing. I think he can really play the tight end good. I just feel the thing I worry about with Taylor Rapp, and he could be better with the playing speed on the field, but he ran a 4.7, almost close to a 4.8 on his pro day. So that is a little concerning. And I think that's why he's going to drop to the 58. They were talking about him possibly being a first-round pick, but when he ran that time, I don't think any first-round teams are going to jump out there because they're going to keep on looking at that because it's a speed game. Gee, you know that. And there's a lot of guys in the slot, and even these tight ends are fast right now. So if you're going deep and blowing over the top, one of the issues I think Taylor Rapp may have to deal with is like if you get a running back that gets through the line of scrimmage correct and you just have the safety, and if Taylor Rapp doesn't take the best angle, I have the fear of him not being able to catch that running back. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason that's kind of sticking in my head that Taylor Rapp, that he's a football player. Like, he's a football player for real. Like, I don't hate on Taylor Rapp at all. He's a football player. Chinese descent, Asian descent. I'm not saying Chinese, excuse me. First one, Asian descent. So I know he really wants to show and prove, but I just a little concerned, especially like in laterally. If you're going against a running back laterally and he breaks through the line of scrimmage, or, these receivers laterally, are you going to be able to get them with that type of speed? Now, he did have a good 3-cone, but that's just a little bit concerning to me, like, especially if they throw the ball over the top. Will he have that makeup speed to get these guys if he's not in really good position? Because playing in college and to the NFL is a lot different. These guys are faster. Is that not true?
If you're just joining us, we're talking Cowboys draft. We're speculating right now about who they might take in the second round. We're going to go through the rest of the rounds here and kind of see who some projections, some good players that the Cowboys would be good to take in these spots. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments, and make sure that you are hitting the emojis down there and commenting right below so we can definitely get your shout-outs in because your opinions count to us as well. What's up, Mama T, Gabino, Eric Kashani, Jop Young, what's going on, our guy, Sean McNeil, Burnett, Rossum, appreciate your comments, Jacob Diaz, Willie Stovall's in there. Don't forget, guys, you can become a supporter as well of the show for just $4.99 a month. We don't have a lot of content that we're doing yet, if that's exclusive for supporters, but we will the more supporters that we get, because we got to be able to get a little bit of money to be able to spend more time with this. So if you guys can help us out, we'd appreciate it. Likes, shares, supporters, the badges down there by the emoji buttons on the bottom of your screen if you're watching on a phone. So thanks again for everybody who's leaving comments with us. Let us know who should the Cowboys take in the second round. You want a safety, any specific player? Lonnie said safety or quarterback. I don't know why you would throw quarterback in there. But
that's definitely not happening. Like, come on, man. Leave Dak alone.
Job wants glory hole, but we don't have sound effects attached at this time, but we are working towards that. And Silas Stevenson tunes in. What's going on? Appreciate your comment there. So now let's move on. Like we said, we're going to go through each round. We just talked about the second round, 58th pick. Now we're going to jump into the third round.
No.
Oh, you're not done yet?
No. We're staying in the second round because I like Taylor Rapp, but the guy I was going to go with is Jonathan Abrams. So you go back to when we got back to Rapp, because I like Rapp, like I said, but I made my selection on YouTube last week, and I said I like Abrams. And one of the reasons why I like Abrams is because, I mean, he has the good size. He's an alpha dog to me. I mean, I think he's just an alpha dog. Good size, 5'11", 205 pounds, had a good speed, 4.4, 99 tackles, 9 passes defense, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks, I'm sorry. I think he's just a versatile type guy. And the thing I like about Abrams, if you watched his tape, the dude is he's an aggressive type dude. Like, he's one of them dudes, and he's cocky. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Cowboys kind of need that. And he's like what, to me, Xavier Woods isn't, because I don't think Xavier Woods is a real talkative type person. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think you see a Jonathan Abrams, he is a guy who is everything that Xavier Woods kind of isn't with the verbal. I think he is. And I think he's one of those type of guys that can come in and you can gradually move him in, or he can maybe come in and be a starter. I mean, I definitely think he is going to take Jeff Heath's job. Okay, so if he comes in, I think he's going to be a starter. The only thing that is concerning me is his coverage. If if you listen to Stephen Jones, he had a quick little interview when he was talking about what they're looking at the safety position. The safety position, they say they want somebody that can play on that ball and can make tackles. Now, Jonathan Abram can make some damn tackles because he'll lay the wood on you. He plays good downhill. He's good. I don't think he's the greatest with tight ends. You don't want to keep him in coverage for a long periods and long stretches because you would definitely want him to be that kind of like box kind of safety. You just want him close to the line of scrimmage. But my thing is, if you keep him in coverage, it's going to hurt. And what did we see with Jeff Heath? He got lost players in coverage. That's my only concerning thing. But you can put him down and make Xavier Woods be the true free safety and let Xavier Woods be able to show his playmaking ability. Like I said, Xavier Woods at Louisiana Tech had 14 interceptions. We haven't got to really see that, although he had a couple this year. We haven't got to see it because they've been interchanging with him and Jeff Heath. I want a guy that you can be interchangeable like a Thornhill, but he's not going to be there. If he's not going to be there, I want a guy who's like physical, who's like an alpha dog, who's really going to lay the wood on people, and that's where I think I'm going to go with Abrams on the 58th pick.
All right, let me jump back into the comments because some of you said who you would take at the second round right there for the Cowboys, their first pick coming up at the draft. Gabino says Taylor Rapp. Pat Harris says Rapp. So a lot of people want safety. Burnett Rossum says safety as well. Howard Everett says wide receiver from Georgia, Ridley. Talking about, I think it's Calvin Ridley's brother. Is that right? Pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing that in no second round.
Sean Moore says, I'm worried that we will draft Jalen Ferguson at 58.
Yes, I'm worried about that as well. I mean, Jalen Ferguson, I think he's the all-time leading sack leader in college football. But I have Vach on the show last week. We were on YouTube. Make sure you check that out. Great. The ability is good. Now, he had some alarming pro day because he didn't look like he had bend or flexibility, but going back to, I've seen a tweet from Bobby Belton. He said a lot of the players on that day were having problems with the turf. So that could be something that's not a huge thing. But the thing stood out to me, what Vach was saying was that he's a guy that don't like football guy. He's like David Irving. Yeah, he's like a David Irving type that he don't like football. He was saying that once he kind of gets where, his few sacks, that he kind of just checks out. I don't want no kind of player like that on the team. And so that, when I heard that from Vach, and I take Vach's opinions very, very highly, I was kind of like, nah, I don't want to kind of deal with him because I don't want to see nothing like that with the Cowboys. We already dealt with that with David Irving. We don't need part two.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want that because then wasting your time with the guy. Really, that's all that ends up happening.
And
plus,
a roster spot. What were we talking about the 58th pick? Dallas has been hitting lately, but the 58th picks have been an issue because people have been talking about how we were missing quite a bit on the 58th pick lately. With the Jalen Smith that came through with the knee thing, Randy Gregory's up in the air. You would say that's not a good pick because of the drug issues, obviously, but they have been hitting. Lately, Cheeto was a second-round pick. I think he's a starter right now, and you can see him trending up. I don't think he's trending down. So I think you have good sights about Cheeto. So I think they have been hitting lately, but they really have to hit on this. Yes, Jalen Smith. I mentioned him, but they really have to hit on this draft because we don't have a lot of picks. They gave up the first-round pick with Amari. They lost the sixth-round pick with Ben Rickery. So and they gained the compensatory pick in fourth round. But they really have to hit on these players because you got guys that are coming with contracts we know and see. We just seen Tank inside. We know Dak, Zeke, Amari, possibly Byron Jones, Jalen Smith, and them are coming up. So Malik Collins, he could be another guy. So they really have to hit on these players because if they lose any of these players, we're not saying they are, but if they lose anybody, they got to have that draft surplus to continue to filter through the team so it doesn't fall off if if a player leaves due to not being signed. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. A lot of people agreeing with your picks, and a lot of people a lot of people are saying these two guys that we've been talking about here that they would like to draft at that spot. And some people are asking about Thornhill too, but you talked about him. He'd probably be gone at that point. Pat Harris says Abrams reminds me of a Roy Williams type deal. Would you agree with that?
That's a good assessment. I think he's a little better in coverage. Just don't keep him longer out there. But I think that's a great assessment as far as his hitting ability. his attitude and his style. I think he's a thumper. I mean, he's a dog. And like I said, if you go into our Big Game James page, I posted a video of him where he really took it personal, being able to be a good open field tackler. I think sometimes he comes in so hard that he may come in a little reckless and he has to break down because the NFL is different. But I like Abrams. He's had dinner with Jerry Jones. They've met with him. They like him. Not everybody's just eating with dinner with Jerry Jones.
Right.
So to me, that's something big in my eyes. So that's telling me that they really like him as well.
Couple of people naming off some players that didn't work out so well in the second round. Bruce Carter, a few years ago.
But you know what? Here's the thing with Bruce Carter. He was nice, but he kept getting injured. I don't remember. You remember the game? I don't know if anybody remembers this, but when Bruce Carter fell off to me was the game when we played San Diego, and he was guarding that little dude I can't remember his name, little 22 somebody. He was guarding somebody.
Danny Woodhead or something.
Yeah, somebody. I think it was him. He was just one of them little guys. He was getting murdered that game. Like, he was getting murdered, and it was like, I don't know if he lost his confidence after that, but he was just getting lost in coverage because he was playing so well. He was getting interceptions. He was playing good. We thought that was going to be the next dynamic duo with Sean Lee and Bruce Carter. We thought those were going to be the guys.
Yeah,
and
it was
boom.
It was like Rush Hour, the Carter and Lee reference. That was something that was I've seen memes about that before.
Mm-hmm.
That comment was from Terrence Shorts, and then Jawan James.
Terrence?
Jawan James says, "Is there any more Boise State players we should keep an eye on?"
I think there's a running back, but I haven't really peeped the Boise State train. I know the Cowboys love them. I think right now they're kind of satisfied with what they have. The players that I would look at to be in Boise State would be the undrafted free agents. So we wouldn't look at them possibly being drafted, but the undrafted part, those guys would get looks in camp because we know the Cowboys love bringing in undrafted free agents, and they make the team with the Cowboys. If you have some talent, and even if you're an undrafted free agent, you can still make the team and possibly start. It depends on, how it goes.
Keep sending in your comments. I'm looking for the good ones, and we'll try to read them off. Are we still going to stay in the second round here?
No, we're good. Jonathan Abrams is who I'm going with at the 58th pick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jonathan Abrams is who I'm going with the 58th pick. And then when we jump into our next pick, which is 90, I believe?
Yep, third round, 90th pick.
Third round with the 90th pick. That's where I am going to go with the defensive tackle position. They don't usually draft a high in third round, but Ron Marinelli, there's two players. Gerald Willis of Miami Hurricanes, who's nice. But this guy, Tristan Hill, has been really coming up on the map. Really good size, 6'3", around 315 pounds. Ron Marinelli went and worked him out. He was hitting them bags like Ron Marinelli likes. And he is a type of guy that they're worried about a little bit with his character issues, but, he's very kind of an opinionated type guy. Had a little bit of issues with the team toward the end and in the bowl games. He wasn't playing a lot, so he took issue with it and made comments about it. So, what they say, the character issues, that doesn't mean it's a character issue, but that's the same things to keep an eye on. But the physical ability, he's the type of guy with the size that the Cowboys, I would say, would need, because we've been waiting for a plugger for a very long time. Like I said, you got Antoine Woods. I don't think he's just a big plugger. I think Antoine Woods is a big boy. He's like that big, cocky, strong. We need kind of one of the wide bodies, the ones that just shoot that one gap. And you got Woods, but beyond him, if he got hurt, that you saw in the playoffs, and he was limited with that torn labrum, where were we going to go? And we need a guy that can come right in off the bench and be able to do that. And I believe if you go after a Hill with that size, he can do that. You got Malik Collins, who's more of a pass rusher. He's not really a guy that's more of a run stuffer. You also got Daniel Ross, who I think is more of a guy that's going to attack the quarterback as well. And Daniel Ross has good size. But this is a type of plugger to me that can shoot that one gap, can play that zero gap, can play over it, can command those double teams. Because if you really watch his tape, he can shoot that gap. He's a gap shooter, and that's what the Cowboys need, a guy who can shoot that gap quickly, command that quick double team, and free our linebackers so they can make plays. The biggest thing that I remember Ray Lewis was talking about when he was making all them tackles, he's like, you got to give me somebody in front of me so I can make plays. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want your linebackers getting peeled off. That was what happened in that Rams game. They were getting to the second level, and Van Der Esch and Smith were getting hit. And when those guys are getting peeled off as your linebacker position because they're blowing up that middle and the front end, there's going to be a big field day for the running game.
Looking back in the comments for a second, Sean Moore said, I love this draft so far if these guys are still there. Josh Marcraft says, I heard from the fan Willis was off the board after the visit.
Oh, that probably be some news. I wonder why, because, there was some character concerns that were raised with Willis as well. I actually hit up Dane Brugler. I don't know if people know him. He is the guy on the he's always doing stuff with Brian Broaddus and Dave Hellman, doing the draft shows. He's one of the who's who of draft nicks. I just tweeted him. I mean, I'm sure everybody's tweeted, but I just tweeted him something specific, and it was about Gerald Willis. And he was like, it was a fourth-round guy for him as well. And he was talking about the character issues. Actually had a back and forth with a guy that went to the University of Miami. And it was kind of funny because they were going back and forth hard, over Willis. But, he said there was some character concerns. So if that was heard by the fan, maybe that could be an issue. And they're saying that's why it might be off the board, if that's true. But like I said, Tristan Hill is a guy that's really being spoke about, and I think he's like a good third-round grade. And if he's available in the third round at 90, I think the Cowboys take him. And he was in one of the 30 visits. So whenever you're one of the 30 visits, you're most likely, if you're around, the Cowboys are going to draft you.
Yeah, like you said, this is a luxury draft, so really, I mean, you can't go wrong anywhere, really. I mean, you want to hit on your guys because there's been a couple of drafts where just about every player is gone. Like, what was it, 2015? I think all we have is Byron Jones still or something like that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to draft like that, but this is definitely a luxury draft where you could take the best available, so that might actually work out better than drafting for need so much. But I guess you do kind of need the safety too, though.
Well, I think it is.
But you don't need it.
Yeah, that's the good thing. I mean, I think you need it now. I mean, you don't need it. I feel you because Jeff Heath is not terrible. Like I said, he had a career year last year.
Like, does a safety put us in the Super Bowl? Are we one little safety away from a Super Bowl? That's the question.
That's interesting. I think if we have a dog safety that really takes over that spot, I think that will elevate not only Xavier Woods, but it would elevate our defense, yes. If we get a dog safety that really pairs good with Xavier, I think it's really going to take our defense even because, when we got Tank and he really stepped up in our defensive linebackers, you saw the difference. You just saw the difference. And I feel like the one thing that's kind of been hindering the Cowboys, even though our secondary wasn't bad, was that back end we kind of just been kind of lost with the safety tandem. It's been good, but we kind of needed to be really good to great to really have that defense being solidified to where you're feeling like you don't have any chance when you come against that defense. That's what we want to feel like. That's what the team wants to feel like when they walk into any opponent or the opponent comes into Dallas, that your defense, we're going to shut you down. And if you really look at our defense last year, that kept us in the game. We have been crying about, G, for so long, right? That it was always offense. We always had to come back through Romo, and I always had to score, 20 points or 30 points a game. Even in 2016 when we had Zeke and Dak, it was the offense that kept the defense off the field, right? Mm-hmm. But last year, it was a season where the defense kept us in the games. There was a lot of games where the Cowboys only had 6 points, 9 points. We were pissed off. We were mad. Yep. We weren't moving the ball. And the defense kept holding and making plays. So now you even get a bigger coup at the salary cap. With the free agency. You get Hyder, you get Covington, you get the mighty Quinn, you re-signed DeMarcus Lawrence, you still got Tyrone Crawford and the other people I named, Malik Collins, Daniel Ross, Woods. You got our linebacking core. Like we said before, we're not even talking about Sean Lee, Big G. You feel me?
I know. Isn't that crazy?
We're not even talking about Sean Lee no more, producer G. That's crazy. Like, remember when we were talking about Sean Lee? Like, oh, Lord, the defense is over when Sean Lee is gone. We're not even talking about him. You got LVE, you got Jalen Smith, you got Joe Thomas, you got Covington, not to be confused with Christian, but you got where Sean Lee is a luxury coming off the bench. So the draft is a luxury for us. So if you got Abrams to me at 58, you're not going to kill yourself. I think Abrams is a good pick at 58. And I think if you come back at 90 and these guys have visited, Tristan Hill at defensive tackle, because he's not going to probably be a starter, but he can be a great rotational player right now and be a eventual starter, because you got to understand Malik Collins' contract is coming up. I think this is his final year, so I know he's been in shape to try to play. Woods is only signed a 2-year deal. Daniel Ross, I believe, only signed a 1-year deal. We don't know what's going to happen with Tyrone Crawford next year, because he's going to be the back end of that pick, and he could be a salary cap casualty. It's not going to cost the Cowboys, and maybe they're possibly going to save money by cutting him. You understand what I'm saying? So there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be up for contract. So you definitely want to get a guy that you are going to hit on in that 90th pick, because he may not be a starter this year and be a rotational player, but coming down the line next year, he's going to be looked to probably be stepping in, and he's got to be able to do that, and he's got to have the talent to do that. And I like Tristan Hill at that position.
Yeah, you always got to be thinking ahead for them future contracts that are coming up and things like that. You know you're going to be losing players, so you definitely want to have somebody that can step right up in there when you lose a guy. Shout out real quick to all of our top fans and our supporters on Facebook Live right now. We appreciate you all leaving comments. If you're watching over on the Cowboys Experience Facebook page and you're leaving comments there, I'm not reading that one, so you can come over here to Silver and Blue Nation and we will see your comments. But we are live on that page as well. And you want to give them a little rundown on Cowboys Experience before we move forward?
Yes, the Cowboys Experience. We got a little check out Big Game James. Going down to this Dolphins game, and if you want to have this road trip, you can check this out with the Dallas Cowboys Experience. Now, first of all, I experienced this last season with Barry. It was second to none as far as the treatment going down with the Cowboys Experience. Got to see a few games, and then remember when you got to come down there, G, it was awesome, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was kind of like second to none. Like, we wanted to be back down there. So now, if you're really trying to get the Cowboys Experience, you need to check it out. So big game James trip, the Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys, as you can see. Come join me. I'm going to be coming down from Ohio to the Cowboys game right there. I need you to get down there, and you can visit me, Producer G. I think you're going to be able to have the accommodations. The hotel, I'll be in the hotel that day. They take you from the game to the game. If you're trying to get any from the game back to the game.
No. But yeah, I did go with you, and it was really nice. As far as you just get a first class treatment, you get, like he said, a hotel room for 2 nights. You get a trip, a VIP bus or party bus or limousine, one of the two, from the hotel to the game. I got to do it. It was great. You're sitting down bottom level, the Miller Lite Club, I believe it was. You're right there where the players come out the tunnel. You're up close and personal with them. Matter of fact, here soon I'll be posting some videos and pictures that I still have from when I went. So you guys can kind of see that experience. And as you can see on this sheet right here, this is the different packages that are available. So you can just have that full experience and everything all included into one bundle. So if anybody's interested, message us, message the page. We'll give you more details. We'll send you these sheets that kind of give you the breakdown so you can kind of see what your options are. And, we'll go from there. So if anybody's interested in that, Cowboys Experience, message our page when we're done here, and we will get you some further information on it.
Yes, make that happen, because like I said, we're going to be down there for that Miami game. We're going to be kicking you, have a good time. Hey, when the first time I experienced it going down to it's great to see the game on TV. You're excited. It's even better when you get to go to the game and get in the stadium. But it's even better if you go down and get on that ground level in that Miller Lite Club. I'm telling you, you saw G, you felt it. It's a whole different energy when you're down there. You feel like you're right with the team. You feel like, the team is right there. You can damn near touch all the guys.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Jerry Jones is right there. So you're out there really kicking it. You're having a good time. I think Barry has one of the most competitive prices out there, bar none. So you really need to check him out. And like I said, the experience that we had has been second to none. I got nothing but love for Barry, and we're going to be doing a lot of bigger and better things. Matter of fact, we're going to be doing another draft show this week on the Cowboys Experience. So make sure you check that out on the Cowboys Experience as well, because it's going to be like a media row type thing. Us, Law Nation, Tyson, West Coast, DDP, Mark Holmes. We're all going to start building up that Cowboys Experience. So if you want to find out about them games, get down there, get in our inbox and find out about this Miami game. But if you want to find out even more information, keep on hollering at us.
Yeah, visit CowboysExperience.com, and you will, there's no doubt, if you pick one of these packages and you go, you'll be getting to meet us as well, which is pretty cool. Not that we're somebody, but it's still pretty cool that you'll get to
Yeah, we ain't nobody. We just a little somebody. We ain't nobody, but you can still come kick it with us. You feel me?
But hey, don't leave the video because we're talking about that. Stick around because we're still talking draft. We still got to get to the fourth round. Right now we went through the second and third. We got them taking safety Jonathan Abrams, defensive tackle Tristan Hill with the second and third pick.
Right.
And now we can move on to the fourth. And
this is hard. Oh, my gosh. The fourth round pick is hard because we got 2 picks in the fourth round, right? There's a couple guys that three guys that's in the mix right now. I'm going to tell you because I think he's going to be our second, fourth round pick. It's hard. I'm battling right now. I'm going to show you Emmanuel Hall. That's what you got right there. I'm going to show you Emmanuel Hall. Here's my battle, folks. And I want to see if y'all, I don't know what y'all doing on your fourth round pick, but this is mine, Big Game James. So just flow with me on these 2 picks, all right? So you got Emmanuel Hall. This is who I'm battling with because I don't think at fourth, I don't know if they're going to pick a receiver, but they can because Randall Cobb is only on a 1-year deal, right? And he is injury prone. Cedric Wilson he hasn't played yet. Tavon Austin is on a 1-year deal. You got Noah Brown. He's on I believe his contract is coming up. Devin Smith, we don't know if he's going to be on the team for a long term, but he's only, I believe, on a 1-year or a 2-year deal. So these guys aren't on long-term deals besides Amari Cooper and then Michael Gallup. So you have to look at a guy that's going to be your future as well. And this guy, Emmanuel Hall, he has visited the Cowboys in the 30 visit, and this dude is a phenom, athletic phenom, 6'2", 200 pounds, ran a 4.39, 15 reps of the bench press, and this guy is one of them guys that when you throw it deep, he's going deep. He's one of them deep speed guys, one of them guys that you can throw it to him and he's taken to the house. We really don't have that. Gallup has gotten deep, but he doesn't have that breakaway speed, not like this dude has. Amari Cooper, he's just a surgeon in the slot or out on the outside because of his route running ability. But he's not a 4.3 guy. You feel what I mean? We don't have that. And this guy does it. And he averaged over 20 yards a catch for 2 years? 2 years, G. I think last year he averaged 22 yards a catch last year. And in 2 years, 20 yards a catch, isn't that nuts?
That's a big play guy. You think he's going to fall that late in the draft?
Yes, and the reason why is the receiving position is not really great. It's not one of the ones that's really going to jump out. It's a good position, but I don't think it's one of the things where you're seeing 3 and 4 and 5 receivers going in the first round. You know, you got Metcalf and you got some other guys, but I don't think it's like super crazy to where you won't be able to get a guy like this in the fourth round because he's not polished. He's not a guy that's going to come in and start for you right now. His route running is suspect. He's got to get that together. And his hands is with his great size and speed. He doesn't have the greatest hands. Needs to be taught. And you got Sanjay Lal who's over there, so he can get him together. You see what he does with them bricks, right? Have you carrying them bricks, so you're going to get your hands right. But he's not a guy that's ready to come right in and start. We have guys that's going to start. Like I said, we got a Randall Cobb. Lord, we hoping he stays healthy. Tavon Austin. Like I said, Cedric Wilson is in the fold. You got Amari Cooper and Gallup. So we're set at the receiver position, but you still need to have that depth and guys that are going to really shine for next year. And we don't have a lot of guys in long-term contracts.
We still have Devin Smith, too. I don't know if you mentioned
that or
not.
Yeah, I mentioned Devin Smith, but I think he's only on a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yep. Seth Moon jumps in, and he has a question that I kind of had as well. Do you think the Cowboys possibly make a move before we move on off the other players that could be possible in the fourth round? Do you think the Cowboys can move up in the draft?
It's been talked about, but when I'm listening to Stephen Jones, and yes, they BS and they smoke screen all the time, but I just don't think that unless it's like at, maybe 50th or something like that, close to that 50th pick they may, but I feel like they're really going to stand pat because they feel confident with the team they have right now. I feel like they feel confident in the free agency picks they acquired along with re-signing to Marcus Lawrence, and I feel like that's going to have them feel like we don't really have to reach and go out there like that and get rid of picks to make something happen, because if they go up and get a guy, he better be a guy that's a dog. So I don't really feel like they're going to do that, and they're just going to stand back and let the chips kind of fall where they may because they covered their bases in free agency.
All right, so Is there anybody else that you was thinking about they could consider in the fourth round, or are you ready to move on to the fifth round?
Oh yeah, we still got a
And
fourth
this
round picks because I got LJ Collier because
which one?
we got two fourth round
And
picks.
then after you, that's right. So so this is one you think that they could definitely take in the fourth round.
Yeah, this is
Emmanuel
a guy
Hall.
they could. But I was saying, show me LJ Collier. This is the two. We got two fourth round picks. I'm gonna give you my solid second fourth round pick. But these is the two I'm battling with because LJ Collier has also visited with the Cowboys and also worked out with them. He's 6'4", 275 pounds, and he can play. I mean, this dude can play. He had 6 sacks. He had 11 and a half tackles for loss, and he teamed with Ben Bayoga, I believe, and they had a really good tandem. But if you look at his size, he's not super athletic. I mean, I think his pro day was not the greatest. It was okay. He wasn't just jumping off the charts, but he has really good production, good size, 6'4", 275, can probably get up to 280, and you could probably swing him from a 3-tech to the outside defensive end. And here's the thing. They still don't know what's going on with Taco. You got Dorrance Armstrong Jr., you know what I mean? You got Tyrone Crawford at the end. DeMarcus Lawrence is out until the first game, so you still don't not know about the shoulder. You get what I mean? You got Quinn, but he's only on a 1-year deal, and they like Collier. So that's my quandary. Do they go for a defensive end with this first fourth-round pick, or do they go for a receiver? I'm going to jump out there and just be crazy and say I'm going to go with Emmanuel Hall. I don't care. I'm just going to go with Emmanuel Hall. I like the speed. I want a guy that can really take the top off the defense. I know he got Devin Smith, but I want a guy that's going to be a future guy. I don't know if Devin Smith is going to be a future guy. And we don't have really deep speed along the receiver position except Tavon Austin. But he's only on a 1-year deal, and he's older. And I don't know if after these 2 years with the Cowboys, he's going to be with the Cowboys any longer. So, and this guy averages over 20 yards a catch, and I just feel like we need a burner, man. We need somebody who can, and somebody with some size, somebody who can just really scare defenses. You feel me? That's why we got Randall Cobb. That's why you look at Randall Cobb as an upgrade over Cole Beasley, because even though Randall Cobb doesn't take the top off the defense, he is more of a run after catch guy than a Cole Beasley. That's what makes him more of a threat. But we really don't have a guy that you can just really just chuck it and throw in deep, and he's really going to kill you. And I think that's what we're missing. So I'm going to just jump out there and go Emmanuel Hall with the first fourth-round pick, and then I'm going to come with another defensive player with the second fourth-round pick.
So you say no L.J. Collier because he probably won't be available after that.
I think he will. I think he might be available, but I think Hall will be available, and I want to go with some deep speed. I want a guy that you can groom. He doesn't have to start right now, but he can come in with some splash plays. So go ahead and go with Hall with the first fourth-round pick. So we got Abrams, we got Hill, and we got Hall at the first ones, and I got my second person coming up next in the fourth round.
All right, and before we jump to that, just let me give a couple shout-outs for some new people that started watching with us. Carlton Barber, what's going on? Appreciate that comment. Vondell Jackson, what's going on? Josh Brandon, thank you for your comment. And Sean Moore has been commenting. Thanks a lot for that as well. So who'd you have in mind then for that second, fourth-round pick?
For the second, fourth-round pick, I'm going to go with Isaiah Johnson, cornerback from Houston. And the reason why I'm going with Isaiah Johnson, I know the guy, kid Joe Jawan Williams from Vanderbilt has been talked about because he's almost like a 6'4" kid. This kid Chris Westering from Kentucky could have been a late round pick. He's a 6'4" kid. Get the picture, get the understanding. Chris Richards likes those tall cornerbacks. That's what he loves. He loves those more than anything. You've seen the reason why Jordan Lewis, I feel like, got hated on was because he's not a tall cornerback, and he kind of got maybe pigeonholed with that. Richard is building a defense with them tall, long cornerbacks. That's what he likes. And when you're talking about Isaiah Johnson, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got really long arms, and he's one of those guys. And he hasn't played the cornerback position for a long time. He's only been a 2-year starter, only played 2 years, a total of what? I think 22 games, I believe, at the position. He was a former wide receiver. So you wonder, can he come right into play? Well, here's the thing. Chris Richard has already had visits with him, already talked with him. I believe they went out. He's worked him out. I believe he likes him, and he's a good speed person, and he's good in press coverage, and he's good in man-to-man coverage. Zone, not the greatest. His footwork is a little bit sloppy if you watch his tape. He doesn't have the best ball skills that you would like, but I believe right now Chris Richard could teach that. We saw what he did with Byron Jones. You saw what he took from Byron Jones playing safety to corner, and you saw what kind of a season Byron Jones had. So I believe he's a guy you can develop. Now, I feel like you don't need to play him this year. He's a 4th-round pick. You don't need to push him in a starting lineup. He's a guy that you can bring off the bench because you had Chidobe, you have Byron Jones, you have an Anthony Brown, you have a Jordan Lewis, you have those type of guys that are still in the fold, and they can just kind of bring him in slowly. But he's a guy in year 2 that you can see taking over starter position, especially if Byron Jones leaves via free agency. So I think they need to cover their tracks on the cornerback position and draft a guy in the 4th round. And if they're going with a guy that's long and tall and has those athletic traits and can play the press position that Richard likes, I think Isaiah Johnson is the guy that go with the 2nd, 4th round pick. Good size and a guy you can groom, and he could be a starter in year 2.
So that would be the compensatory pick, and you've got us going defensive heavy so far.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Anderson, what's going on? I'm looking at Facebook Live comments. Alec Cash, Jamal's our guy. We met him before at the Cowboys Experience we talked about. So
what's up,
you
Cash
can be
Money?
like him, and we can meet up down there as well. Floyd Parra, what's going on?
What up, Floyd?
Carl and Nadine Cox says we need a good backup quarterback. Apparently giving up on Mike White already and Cooper Rush.
Man, first of all, I ain't saying Cooper Rush is tight, but he's okay. I wouldn't mind somebody else, but I'm okay with Cooper Rush. But y'all need to give Mike White a chance, man. Give Mike White a chance. Y'all slipping on Mike White. I think he's gonna be slippery for you. He got good size. He can throw the ball. He throws a good ball. Good accuracy. Give him a chance. He wasn't supposed to play this past season. They drafted him with the thing of you're going to sit and learn. But I think he's a guy that you need to keep your eyes on. Mike White is going to be a good player.
So there you go, Carl. I think we're going to be all right at backup quarterback. So here we go. Again, I'm going to show you the mock draft that we're doing here. If you just tuned in, we're doing 2nd, 3rd, 4th. We've done so far the 2 4th-round picks. We're about to get into the 5th and 7th-round picks to kind of wrap up this sort of a mock draft that we just threw together real quick this morning.
Hell yeah.
Jamal said he was late, but we kind of just threw it out there. We was going to be jumping on today. So eventually here we'll get settled in. We'll get a consistent time that we're doing it every day, the same day, every week, same time. So you guys can set that expectation. We will come to that at some point here. Once I know when I get more settled in, we'll be a little bit smoother in that area. But again, so we're talking draft, and we talked about everyone up until the 5th round right now. So who are you thinking about for the 5th round?
Running back. We got to get a running back. We don't got one. A backup running back. I'm sorry. No, don't get mad at me. I didn't say no. We ain't got no starter. We got Zeke, but we don't got a backup. Rod Smith is visiting other teams, and I just don't believe the Cowboys are bringing him back. I feel like that has run its course, and I really don't think Rod Smith is good as far as what the Cowboys need right now. So running back position is a need. I think the pick that I'm going to go with, I had some back and forth. I like a kid named Trayvon Williams from Texas A&M. Good speedster guy, runs a 4.5, played a good 3 years, and good competition. Is real elusive, can make you miss, can catch the ball at the backfield. Not a real big guy, but can catch the ball at the backfield. But I'm gonna go with an Ohio State combination, and that's gonna be Mike Weber. And now, I had somebody jump on me, and I don't know if they're in the feed. If they could get on me because I was saying that Mike Weber is like the Zeke hype. Remember when we were out here. We seen Mike Weber, right? You feel me? So we seen Mike Weber, and they were hyping Mike Weber right after Zeke left, like he was going to be the next great guy because he had a great, phenomenal freshman year, rushed over 1,000 yards, right? He looked really good. So you were thinking, man, he's going to be that man. But as you saw, had some injuries fall his way. Lost his starting position, was actually sharing time. But the thing that I like about Mike Weber, he's a good elusive back, and I think he can do a little bit of everything. I think he has good vision, and I think he's a good backup. He's not going to come in and be a starter in the league, and he would be a good complement to Zeke because I didn't think he was going to run as good as he did. He ran a 4.4. I think that's good.
He's
Even though I
fast.
wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind a 4-3 guy like that Justice Hill from I can't remember the college off the top of my head. I want a guy that can just boom hit through that line. I don't know if Weber is that. Sometimes I've seen him in games and he looked like that. You know what I mean, G? We watched some games where we're like, man, why Weber looks
Yeah, he
fast.
looked like a Zeke-esque. That's what I called him
Yeah,
before.
I mean, he was getting through the line. And he was looking
Explosive.
good, explosive. So
But
that's why I like Mike Weber.
just one more factor to throw in there as to why he wasn't the full-time starter there. J.K. Dobbins, the other running back Ohio State has, this guy's going to be an NFL running back as well. So he had that type of competition with that he had at Ohio State. And like you said, the injuries got him. They got him a lot, but he definitely showed in that second and third season there that he had that explosion where once he gets to that next level, like he can outrun NFL defenses. So he could be a home run hit, an Ohio State connection. Zeke has some pull there. So you never know what could happen, but if that's who you think they're going to take. You had another guy in mind too, though.
I had another guy. It was a plethora of guys. There's another guy named Tony Pollard, who they're looking at with Memphis. I know that Darnell Henderson is a guy that's being spoken about, but he hasn't really met with the Cowboys, and I'm really staying on guys that have met with the Cowboys. Damian Harris, I think Terrence Shorts, what's up at your big dog, has mentioned him as well. Damian Harris is an option as well. But these are guys that have visited with the Cowboys. So I'm not really talking about guys that don't visit the Cowboys because I still think these guys will be available. I think a Mike Weber will be available in the 5th round. And if he visited the Cowboys and is available, it kind of makes sense to me that they're going to pick him. You feel what I'm saying? They don't go out the box as far as going to get guys who haven't really they've talked to. They've only had 2 players. That was Morris Claiborne and DeMarcus Ware. Other than that, you come visit the Cowboys, they're most likely going to draft you. I like Weber because I feel like he's a multifaceted back. I feel like he can give you a little bit of juice. He can catch the ball at the backfield, and I feel like he can understand his role. Just like as you talked about, he had to split roles. And remember, he was the lead dog his freshman year, and he took the back role and had to share it. And you never heard anything about him, did you, G?
Nope.
You never heard him complain. You never heard anything, and that's what I like, and that's why I think he'd be a good compliment to Zeke. And he can play special teams. And one of the reasons why we like our backs is because they can play special teams. And this kid can play special teams. This is a guy who can definitely play special teams, and that adds to what he can do because you just don't want to be a one-type back. You got to be able to play special teams with the Cowboys, especially if you're like a running back of that type coming in the 5th round, and he's a guy that can definitely do it. So I don't think it would be a bad pick. I've seen some other people talking about Bryce Love from Stanford. He's coming off the ACL. That's a knee injury to me, and I know they battle back and knee injuries aren't what they used to be. They come back like they're good as normal, but that's still a knee injury. And you see Todd Gurley, he had a knee injury. Now he's having arthritis, and Bryce Love has already had reports of knee soreness with that, and that's concerning. Why deal with that? You get what I'm saying? We already had enough of problems with people with injuries on the team. Why you want to do that? You can get a guy who can play right now and do what you need coming off the bench.
Carlton Barber says Mike Weber works. Sean Moore says, I would love this draft if we could make it happen. Terrence Short says Mike Weber is productive. Yes, I mean, so you can't really go wrong there. That's a good late-round pick, I think, and a good replacement for Rod Smith, who we can talk about after we get to this last pick. But so that's who you're going with there, Mike Weber in the 5th round.
Mike Weber on the 5th round.
So as you can see right here, we've gone through the 2nd, 3rd, 2 4ths, and the 5th round pick. We got 1 pick left in the 7th round. And this would be it. Safety, Jonathan Abrams. Defensive tackle, Tristan Hill. Wide receiver, Emmanuel Hall. Cornerback, Isaiah Johnson. Running back, Mike Weber. So now we're starting to get back to the offense a little bit. But now we're in the 7th round. Final pick. What are you thinking here?
I'm about to hit you with some more defense, dog. You know what I mean? There was a Holcomb kid spoke about with North Carolina. He could possibly be a pick, but I am going with the kid named Darius Harris from Middle Tennessee State. All right? This is a kid that obviously it's a 7th round pick. So, a 7th round pick is hard to kind of make the squad. But he's a guy that the Cowboys have inquired about quite a bit. Ben Bloom went out there and watched him and worked him out. I think that's big because Ben Bloom is the linebackers coach. He likes him, good size, 6'2", 238 pounds, had over 98 tackles this past season, had 6 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. So he's a guy that will hit you. He's a guy that can shoot the gap. Now, he can get overpowered a little bit. He's not one of those thick guys. He has that real good speed, so he's a little bit linear in his body. But he's one of them guys that when you look at the Cowboys as far as the defense, the way it's structured, we need to have speed. Is that not correct? If you look at Jalen Smith, if you look at Van Der Esch, even Joe Thomas, Marsh Lillard, all those guys are pretty fast. Sean Lee is, even though he's in his 30s, he's still a pretty fast guy, you know what I mean, for the linebacker position. That's what they want. They want guys that are aggressive and always moving and going and can attack. And I feel like this be a guy that if he made the squad, and like I said, they've been out there and visited him. They went out there and worked him out. Bobby Bell, who was on the show last month, he mentioned him as well, and he had talked about him on Twitter and showed quite a bit of videos of Harris. So I hear about the Holcomb kid, but when I see certain people posting a lot of videos and saying Ben Bloom and guys are going to go look at them numerous times, then that's why I feel like as a 7th round pick, and I think he will be available at the 7th round, and he'd be a good value pick. I think the Cowboys will go with Darius Harris of Middle Tennessee State for the 7th round pick.
So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get to some comments in a second. Then we're going to talk about some current things with the current Cowboys. So let's just go ahead and do just show you guys another quick recap. We just talked about it. So just addition to what we talked about, linebacker Darius Harris there in the 7th round. So 4 defensive players and 2 offensive players. And only 6. That just looks like such a small draft this year,
doesn't it? And it feels because see, here's the thing, folks. Like I said, I woke up and made this mock like boom. I had been following a lot of the players throughout, but I wasn't really trying to do the mock. But I said, hey, let's go ahead and do it. But you know what? The Cowboys could still draft offensive lineman. When I had Vash Lombardi on the show, like I said, go check out that YouTube. Had him, Law Nation, on there. I talked to Vachi, kind of like to me a guru guy for real. But he was talking about offensive linemen. There was probably about a good 7 or 8 of them. Now, when you look at the offensive line for the Cowboys, you see we talked about, Travis Frederick is back. But then you see what Joe Looney did, great backup. And then you still got Suafilo, who did pretty good in the backup position. Cam Fleming, who is a decent backup. Our starters are good. I think Connor Williams will be really good in year 2. I really think Connor Williams is going to be really good in year 2. La'el Collins, I just think this is his last year with the Cowboys. I just think the Cowboys are going to be done with La'el Collins after this season. So it wouldn't be off or bad if the Cowboys drafted an offensive lineman. But listening to Vach, he said usually when you draft an offensive lineman late, they're not good. So he was saying that you should draft an offensive lineman early, like a 3rd rounder or a 2nd rounder. To me, I don't know if I would be mad at that. Would you?
No, I mean, you can never go wrong with more offensive linemen. So, and we've seen the injuries. We've seen what happens. Guys you don't even realize it. Boom, they're out for the season. So, you can never go wrong.
And we've seen with Tyron Smith injuries. We've seen Zach Martin got a little dinged up this past season. Connor Williams was out for a little bit. Suafilo was banged up. I think that's one of the most, besides running back, the worst positions for injuries because those guys are always getting ran behind. The running backs running behind their leg or they're blocking and they get pushed back, and if somebody falls on them, they get the worst of the injuries. And it sucks because you signed them to a big deal and they be out like 2 years with injuries. You feel me? So that's only my concern of drafting the offensive lineman that high, but you can never have too many offensive linemen. But I still went defensive heavy. I think that we have good offensive players. I like the receiving core, especially with Amari Cooper taking the 1st round pick. I think that is huge. Michael Gallup is good. Getting Randall Cobb was huge, I think, and especially if he stays healthy. I think that's going to be huge for our offense. Tavon Austin, we got a punt returner. Maybe can get some kickoffs, but he still has that really good all-world speed. I really like Cedric Wilson. I haven't talked about him a lot, but Cedric Wilson be good. So I think offensively we will be okay. Blake Jarwin, we haven't talked about a tight end. Maybe the Cowboys could even draft a tight end. You feel me? There's so many ways the Cowboys can go because it is a luxury draft. But I really like to see a Blake Jarwin develop. You feel me, G? I really like to see you use the 4th round pick on Dalton Schultz. I really like to see what Dalton Schultz does. Witten is going to get reps. You feel me? Mm-hmm. He ain't going to be coming out the game. So I think the offense is going to be okay. So that's why I went defensive heavy within the draft because I still feel like there are holes in the secondary, back end, within the cornerback position, and even the defensive line. You still want to have a rotation of guys, and you know how Marinelli likes to rotate his guys. So you always want to have a lot of defensive linemen because he likes to rotate a lot of players.
So we've been talking draft so far, and let me go ahead and put this up here one more time so you can see this mock we just went through if you just tuned in. So this is kind of just a quick projection, like he said, thrown together this morning real quick, just to kind of give a feeler for maybe some guys the Cowboys might be looking at. I know these are all guys, like you said, that have visited or had some kind of contact with the Cowboys.
Yes.
So we know that they are possibilities if they're there, at those at those spots if they're available. So they are possibilities. But
yeah, because we're not going to talk about no guys. Like I said, I'm not going to do no players that ain't visited Dallas or, he's good. He's a Division III player.
They wouldn't pick him.
Yeah, they're not picking them. If we're talking about the guys who have visited and they're on their radar. Now, I know Willie McClay might have some gems that we don't know about, but these are guys on their radar. And if these guys are available, these are the guys that Cowboys are going to pick. So these are the ones I want to throw out there because they're not just going to work out players that they're not trying to go after. There's been proven that that's what they do.
I wanted to take a few comments that were kind of about the current state of the team. I mean, it's still involved in the draft possibly, but Carlton Barber says if Washington trades their second round for Rosen, does anyone worry about that?
No.
What if they get Dwayne Haskins?
I mean, the Giants can still get Haskins. You feel me? I mean, Saquon Barkley is going to be a problem, but, it is what it is. The Eagles got Wentz. I mean, we know he's hurt all the time, but he's still a pretty good quarterback. I mean, we got the defense to bang with these guys. They had Carson Wentz, right, and he didn't beat us. They Drew Brees. We played Drew Brees. Did they beat us?
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? We got to get Aaron Rodgers, but our defense has proven in this short period of time of building it that it can be a force to be reckoned with. At the end of the day, I'd rather have that defense over that offense right now because you saw how it kept us in games, and that's what we need more than anything. We can love to score 30 points a game, and everybody wants to, throw for 400 yards and all that crap, but I don't care about that. We need to have defense, and we need to have defense that can shut a quarterback down. So if Haskins does come in the division, you don't get scared because you say we got a defense that can shut him down. So I'm not worried about that when you got that defense together. So that's why we go defensive heavy to keep on building that up. Because when you got a shut down defense, it changes the whole game. We saw it in the Super Bowl. The Rams were high scoring. What did they do in the Super Bowl? Nothing. They got shut down.
If you guys like the show, please give us a like and a share. We really appreciate that. And thanks for all the comments. Everyone who left a comment and we shouted you out. Make sure you like the video. We appreciate it. The likes and stuff like that really help us out. So thanks a lot for you guys' support. And let me get a couple more comments here before we talk about some topics we had planned here. Floyd Perez says he likes the draft picks that we have up here that you just put out there.
Appreciate you.
Terrence Short says Collins should move to left guard, but then I don't know what you do with Connor.
You can move Connor at right tackle because he played tackle at Texas. Here's the thing about Leo Collins. Yes, and he's athletic. Connor Williams is athletic. You never really saw Connor Williams out of position. If you really watched the game, Connor Williams was never really out of position. He had a few. He's a rookie. He had a few times where he was out, but at the end of the day, Connor Williams played good. He just didn't have the size and the girth to really deal with that. But that was a good pick. If they moved him out to right tackle, he could play because he's athletic and he has good feet. Leo Collins doesn't have bad feet, but he has bad technique at times. He reaches too much. He lunges too much. And even in space, I didn't think he was better than Ron Leary. People try to hype it. No, he wasn't. He was not better than Ron Leary. We still took that hit. Leo Collins could be good, but I just feel like Leo Collins, maybe he's just not all that what the Cowboys thought he was. You know what I mean? Yep. He was supposed to be this top 10 pick, supposed to be all this and that. But he hasn't really took that next level that they were hoping. They got a steal and not having to pick him in the first round. But I'm glad it did happen like that because imagine if we would have spent a first-round pick on Leo Collins. How would you feel about that right now?
Like it was a bust?
Exactly.
Not a big bust, but a bust, like for where he would have been picked.
For where he was projected to be picked, Leo Collins, and with his season that he's done with the Cowboys, you're going to say that he played underwhelmed to that stature he was drafted at. So for where we took him, it's okay. But I just feel like he's just not going to guy that's going to be with the Cowboys any longer.
Ryan Kelleher's watching from the UK over in England. Appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you for tuning in, and let us know where you guys are watching from. We appreciate all of you, and we love to know where Cowboys Nation is being represented from. But since we're talking offensive line, we can just move right into the big news, I guess, for the offensive line that's happening right now, and that is Travis Frederick is coming back.
Oh, man.
How big you think this is for us?
That's huge, dog. That's like our anchor. That's our rock. That's our dude. That's our man. I mean, when the Cowboys selected Travis Frederick and everybody was saying the Cowboys reached, I was happy because I'm as far as living in this area, it's been Big Ten country. Okay, so we get to see the Wisconsins, we get to see the Iowas, we get to see the Illinois, and we get to see the Northwest. We get to see them teams because they're here all the time. When they picked up Travis Frederick from Wisconsin, I was like, yes, that ain't no reach because them Wisconsin linemen are good, especially a center, and he's smart, and he just carried it over, and he transitioned to the NFL, and it's just been smooth. He's just been an absolute monster, and as good as a player he is, he's a better person. We got a chance to meet him. You remember, G, when we got to go a chance to meet him, Zach Martin, and Jeff Heath, and that was through the Cowboys Experience.
Cowboys Experience.
Just thought I'd let you know that was through the Cowboys Experience. So I got to meet Travis through the Cowboys Experience.
Yes.
And just meeting him, talking to him, he took time to kick it. Gave me a good handshake. He's a cool dude, and I just believe that him coming back and solidifying that line because look, we gave up 53 sacks last season. I know Dak held the ball a little bit, but Su'a-Filo gave up 5 on his own. So the line wasn't the line of the 2016 or even maybe 2017. You feel me? So it wasn't the greatest line. It was a line that was in flux. So getting a rock and a veteran, that this going to make the calmness. It's going to make a Zach Martin better. If Connor Williams is there, think about it. He didn't get to play with Connor Williams. You don't think – I mean, Joe Looney was good, but to me he's a backup. Joe Looney played
right
great, but he's a backup. Could you imagine if Travis Frederick was next to Connor Williams, how maybe the season could have turned out?
That's going to help him out a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You good?
I'm just getting back into the shout-outs of the locations. Ryan Rogers in San Diego. That's where I am, Ryan. So, hey, that's pretty cool. Josh Brandon in North Carolina. Gabino Barrera in Texas.
What up, Gambino?
Josh Brandon said huge, talking about the news of Travis Frederick returning.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so happy.
Michael Kleitz is in Savannah, Georgia, I'm assuming. And Carlton Barber's in Baltimore, Maryland. And Vondell's in Virginia.
What up, Vondell? What up, Carlton?
Kerry Teagle in H-Town, Texas.
What up, Terry Teague?
Patrick O'Brien says Triple D.
What up, Patrick O'Brien?
Michael Lafferty says PA here.
PA, was it Lafferty?
Lafferty, that's it.
Yeah, what's up? Michael's my friend on Facebook. What up with you, dog?
And then Josh Brandon says we're going to be back to the best offensive line. I certainly hope so.
I hope so because we're going to need that. Zeke needs to have another really good year. This is our time. No excuses. I've been saying it time and time again. We've been saying it since we've been broadcasting it for 2 years now, 2017. But I think if I look at our team this year compared to last year and the year before, we had the Zeke suspension. Last year was really good. But this year, we have even a better, more depth, really good players as far as acquisitions. I believe they hit on this draft. It's really no excuses. And this is Garrett's contract year. So he's coaching for his job. And Kellen Moore has to show and prove. So I feel like he's going to have to really open it up. So this is no excuses for our squad. I think we are one of the most talented teams in the NFL right now. Top 5 for sure. We're one of the most talented teams in the NFL, bar none. From offense to defense, we are one of the best.
There's not very many holes.
Not very many holes. I feel like we can bang with anybody, and it's just really our time to really have no excuses. Jason Garrett, do this. I never want to hate on you. I want you to stay. I want a longevity coach. Who wants to cycle through coaches, G? Who wants to go through a coach every 3 or 4 years?
Not me.
Dallas did that, and it sucked. It sucked when we had to go through a coach every 3 years because it just wasn't happening. Shane Gailey, Dave Campo. Not hating on you guys, not hating, but it was just going through the coaches. It's just you want a guy who's stable, you want a guy who's been there, and you want a guy who's winning constantly, consistently. And that's what Garrett has to do. And he hasn't been bad as far as if you look at the record, 3 NFC East titles in 10 years, only 1 losing season. It's not a bad record, but the playoffs is where you're being judged now, Jason Garrett, and you have to get the Cowboys over the hump.
Just a couple more questions because we got a couple more things to talk about. We probably won't take too long, and then we'll wrap it up. And then again, if you guys just tuned in, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're gonna go live there for a late night cap tonight, and that could be something that could be, we only do late night caps on YouTube. So if you want that type of content, make sure you go over there and subscribe and turn on those notifications.
Please do. We have fun on YouTube.
Yes. Just a couple quick little questions. Literal Stewart says, "What about Donovan Wilson of Texas A&M? He loves him for safety. What do you think about that person?"
I don't think that happens. Like I said, I think guys that really come in the building. Korea Harris, I believe, from Michigan State has visited. This Boston College, he just slipped my mind. There's probably about 6 safety. Thornhill visited, Rapp visited, and Abrams visited. Those are the guys that visited. I don't really want to go with guys that are not Chauncey Gardner Johnson. Those are the guys that visited. So maybe those guys that maybe you're talking about could happen, but I just feel like the Cowboys are going to go and feel comfortable with Harris from Boston College. I'm sorry. They're going to go with the guys they feel comfortable with, that have visited and they've talked with. So that's why I'm kind of sticking to them. And they had 6 safeties come in there. So that can tell you what position they may really be leaning toward in the draft because they brought 6 guys in.
Wasn't there one year where, was it Morris Claiborne maybe, where Dallas did not have a visit?
Yeah.
And they drafted him?
Yeah, that's him and
Was it Claiborne?
Marcus Ware. Those are the only 2 that never had a visit, and the Cowboys drafted them.
I mean, that's good information right there. So like the guys that we're talking about are of high possibility of being drafted if they're available at those positions.
Yes.
Carlton Barber says, "I didn't like Fleming being extended." Cam Fleming, the swing tackle.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Fleming, he's not great. He's okay, but I mean, he played with the Patriots a nice little bit, so he had to be doing something right if Belichick, because if Belichick don't like, he gonna get rid of you, dog. So that's why I look at Hope. He wasn't terrible in the games. I think we did win some games when he played, but it wasn't really per se because of Cam Fleming, because I remember watching him a couple of times where he was just getting killed off the edge, like back-to-back plays. So he's not a guy I want to see starting. So that's why I said offensive lineman can still be a position that you can look at in the draft because you have a lot of bases covered. So I wouldn't be mad if they got an offensive tackle. I wouldn't be mad if they got a tight end. There's not a position I would really be mad at. It would make sense to me is if you draft a quarterback. Then I'm like, what are you doing? That's kind of weird.
Oh, yeah, quarterback, that would be, unless there's somebody who just can't miss on or something. What's up?
They're not going to find that.
What's up, Richard Hinkle? Appreciate you tuning in. Patrick O'Brien says, "What happened to Noah Brown? Just not good, or what's going on with him?"
I mean, Noah Brown, people understand, and we get, like I said, we get to see the Ohio State players because we was out. You don't see them no more, G. You're in California, so now you can talk about. I see California players. So,
Yeah.
So now you better make sure you get to get that West Coast stuff all together over there and be checking up on the West Coast guys because you don't no longer live on the Midwest.
I'll still be watching the Buckeyes probably.
Nah, you better get on that West Coast and get on that West Coast over there. So we got to see Noah Brown. He wasn't anything spectacular. I know he had the big game against Oklahoma, but he was not anything spectacular, but he was real young. When you watch him in the games, he never really gets opportunities, but when he does get the opportunities, he makes plays. Is that not correct? Doesn't have the breakaway speed. Yep. Has good blocking skills. Nothing really stands out with Noah Brown, so that's why I don't know what's going to happen with Noah Brown because, Jerry, remember his rookie year, he made sure he stayed on the team. So he likes Noah Brown. If Jerry likes you, you're going to be on the team. I think this is a year, if Noah Brown's going to do anything, this has to be a year where he shows he's doing something because you can't keep holding on to a receiver that within 3 or 4 years is not getting the ball.
We can name a lot of guys. You remember a guy named Devin Street? The same type of situation that reminds me
from
of
Pittsburgh.
Like he had potential, but just we could never. But he was bad when he got in there, though. I remember him dropping balls and.
Yes. It was scary.
Michael Lafferty said, "Vape on, producer G." Talking about my vape device.
Yeah, smoke on.
I will. These are more acceptable than cigs. So
smoke on.
Josh Brandon said he had a comment. He said, "Hopefully Scott Linehan was the problem."
Well, I'm gonna think he was part of the problem because we got to look at Kellen Moore. I believe the good thing was number one, John Kitna. I love that hire. But him molding with Kellen Moore, I think, would be really good for Dak. They'll get the footwork together. It's getting better. It gets better, I believe, every year. He showed more promise toward the end of the year, especially with Amari Cooper. But I believe John Kitna being that hire is really going to help Dak Prescott. But I believe Kellen Moore, I'm not saying he's going to come in and be like gangbusters, but I do believe he does have an offensive mind. He is going to be more open and willing than a Scott Linehan has, because you saw if you went against Scott Linehan, you were gone. There was no if, ands about it. You talked something about Scott Linehan, and he was getting rid of you. Kellen Moore don't have that power. You feel me? Kellen Moore don't have no power like that to be getting rid of people. He's going to be more of a yes man to me, if anything, where Garrett's going to put his hand in that offense too if he wants. Because Kellen Moore is, 30-some years old? He's young. So he's going to have a lot of pressure. I think he is going to have more of a wide open type offense and give Dak more freedom at the line and be able to do more running and things of that nature. So hopefully we'll see a really dynamic offense, but I believe having the cohesion and having the good comfortability with your coordinator is really going to help the process of the offense as well.
Maurice Trevino says he's just getting in. We'll definitely rewatch for
What's
sure.
Up, Maurice?
Silver and Blue Nation all day, every day. Appreciate you,
Logan?
Maurice. Yes.
Logan?
Hulk. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We just kind of went spontaneous today. We didn't have a set time. So that's the great thing, though. You can rewatch it.
Yes, please do.
I wonder if we have any first-time viewers in there. Let us know if you're a first-time viewer.
Please let us know if you're a first-time viewer right now.
And we're talking offense for the Cowboys, so let's stay on offense and let's talk about. You want to talk about the receiver or the quarterback first? Because we're talking money either way.
Let's go ahead and get the receiver out the way first, because Dak is the big talk of the town.
We'll finish up with Dak then.
Yes, the receiver position. Now, I just posted on the page yesterday on Silver and Blue. On Big Game, and then I posted on Silver and Blue today. They interviewed Amari Cooper, and he basically said, you know what, I want to go out and go out there and prove it and show I'm really worth that money. Yeah. They all say that. They want to get paid. He's like, you know what? He says he feels good because there have been talks, and he believes they want to get it done, and I know the Cowboys do. So Amari Cooper's going to get his money. Dak Prescott's going to get his money. But if you're talking about Amari Cooper, we can always just go back to this. If the Cowboys were going to pay Sammy Watkins $16 million a year, Amari Cooper's getting his money for sure. They wouldn't have went out there and changed and traded up the pick to go do that, and you saw what he did when he came on the team. Everybody was talking about Zeke and Dak and how Zeke carries Dak and blah, blah, blah. But it was Dak and Zeke together, and we were 3-5. And if we didn't have a passing game, we didn't know when we were going to win a game. Is that not correct?
That's true.
So Amari Cooper is super valuable, so we'll probably be looking at him into the $17 million range, or possibly more. We don't know for Amari Cooper. You hear about Julio Jones getting possibly $20 million a year. They're negotiating that. So, receivers going to want to get their money. I say, just like with Dak Prescott, the sooner the better, because the market is going to keep on raising every single year. And if a guy comes out and has a 100-catch season and he's a dog, you know what's going to happen. He's going to want that big dollars. So I think it just behooves the Cowboys, and the cap is going to be huge next year. They'll have a lot of money next year for the cap. Just get these guys signed.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to be able to keep everyone. But do you think that if Julio Jones gets a $20 million a season, and because Russell Wilson got the money he got, does that automatically mean like these guys are the next guys up, like they're going to get at least as much as them or more? Or do you think these guys won't get as much because for whatever reason maybe their stats aren't as good or something like that? Like, do you think Cooper is? Let's say Julio Jones signs the $20 million a year. Do you think that's the bar now for Cooper, or do you think you can get him for less than that?
I think you can get Cooper less for that because he hasn't done what Julio Jones has done. Good numbers, but not like that. He did have a little bit of a fall off with the Raiders, so you can look at that. As far as that, why he wouldn't get that, I think, like I said, it's going to be around that $17, maybe $18 million a year. It's going to be close. But I don't think he'll come at the Cowboys for $20 million a year, and I'm not going to say he shouldn't get it. I'm not going to say who should get what, but I'm not trying to see that right now. And you got to really look at his numbers to say his numbers don't say $20 million. So I think he'll go with a good range. I don't think it's going to go out of pocket. And let's be honest, Stephen Jones ain't having it. If you read the article or even watched the interview with DeMarcus Lawrence's agent and Stephen Jones, It's crazy. They were going back and forth. He was telling him no way in hell DeMarcus Lawrence good as Khalil Mack and them. They're going back and forth. DeMarcus Lawrence telling his agent to F off and let's do this. But Stephen Jones, he's the polar opposite of Jerry. He ain't going to be doing all that stuff. You're not going to put him in a corner and say this is what you're going to do. That's not the way Stephen Jones works. He's going to make it friendly for the team. He's already stressed that with Dak Prescott, and I know they're going to talk to Amari about the same thing. We want to keep our team together. We want to make it to Super Bowls, multiple championships. But, guys, we got to have reasonable contracts so we can continue to sign these other players. So that's where he's going to come at him. I don't think Dak Prescott should be getting no $35 million a year. He hasn't made it. His stats are good, definitely worthy. If you're only making like $570,000, going to $28 million ain't bad, is it?
We was talking about giving him $20 million, back last season.
Exactly, and now exactly. You just said that. We was talking about $20 million, how that was crazy, right?
Well, hold on, because we're about to talk about him.
Oh, okay.
Dak. So we're about to get right into that. But real quick, first, just a quick final thing here on Amari. Jeremy Zwick comments and says, "Where would you draft Amari in this class of wide receivers this year?"
He'd be the top.
That's what I would say.
Be no doubt, he'd be the top. If Amari Cooper was in the draft right now, he's one of the top 10.
That's what I would say. Probably better than that, really.
Yeah, top 10. Do you see that route running? Hell yeah, he is a top 10 guy, if not higher.
All right, so we had talked about his contract. We covered the draft today. If you just tuned in, and you can rewatch this show if you want when we're done. You can even rewind it right now if you'd like, and you can go back and watch the mock draft that we put up. And I'll show that again right before we end. That'll be the last thing you guys see on here. Will be a recap of the mock draft that we just put together. Well, Big Game James put together this morning. I guess this afternoon, depending on where you are. But we were talking about Dak there and getting into his range of money, and we were talking about how at the end of last season, people were saying, is he worth even $20 million? Now, after the Russell Wilson deal, we're like, he's getting at least 28.
Right. Exactly. And shout out to Jeremy Zwick. I don't know if I said it right. He said he's a first-time viewer. Say he loves the show. So shout out to you.
Yeah, we had a couple of them.
There's
a couple. Josh Brandon was another first-time viewer, and Robert Peden. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. We do shows that are just on YouTube as well, not here. So make sure you jump over to YouTube for us.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And we appreciate you jumping in. Hopefully we can keep on getting even better for you. Make sure you continue to keep on tuning in to Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James. And if you're doing nothing tonight, hey, we probably might be doing it tonight too. So we talk some more Cowboys. So get out here.
And it really heats up as we get closer to the season. So.
Exactly. It gets real fun, because this is kind of like the boring time. Let's be honest. This is the boring period. This is the period that blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about contracts. Let's talk about this. But let's talk about some football.
Yeah, right now
that's what I'm ready to talk about.
Everything right now is like what you were saying earlier. It's just kind of everybody's just guessing. It's just kind of predictions for the draft. Yeah. So
ain't got nothing else to talk about.
And we'll have more draft coverage. We'll be going live the day of the draft and after the draft. So we will definitely have some coverage for you guys live so we can react to that with you all. So stay tuned for all that. But back to Dak before we finish up here.
All right.
What do you want to hit on with him as far as like his contract goes, and when do you think? I know aren't there supposedly some talks going on right now?
There are talks going on right now. If you listen to the show, like I said, I had Bobby Belt on a month before, and Patrick Walker on here was from Cowboys 24/7 CBS. Great interview. Make sure you check it out if you haven't. It actually is on Facebook. Patrick gave we got some real good chopping up talk. He's real close with the Cowboys news. And he was saying that they want to get it done sooner, like possibly maybe before the first game of the season. They may try to sign him, Dak Prescott. They want to get it done because, the market is raised. Just like as you just said before, G. We were screaming about a couple of years ago, $20 million, or last year, $20 million. That's no, but now it's raised from that. So now it's like 28. A lot of people are mad about it, and so many people are whatever about Dak Prescott. He don't deserve that money. I wouldn't pay him more than $20 million or 23 or 25. But at the end of the day, the numbers and the wins, they the performance. They're performance escalators. It's just like a regular job. This isn't just entertainment. This is their livelihood. So they're going to base what they should be getting paid on their numbers. And his numbers in those 3 years are worthy of a lot of these other guys, if not better. You got Garoppolo, who played 7 games, G. He's making $27 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
He played 7 games. People are mad about Dak Prescott for playing 3 years of football, 2 titles, NFC East titles, 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win, good numbers, but you shouldn't get paid more than Jimmy Garoppolo. And he played 7 games,
That's
and he got
crazy.
$27 million.
He
played
like
7.
That.
Think about it like that. He played 7 games. He got $27 million, and we're mad at Dak Prescott with his body of work for 3 years that he can't get more than Jimmy Garoppolo. He can't make more than Derek Carr. What has Derek Carr done?
I feel like guys get paid on potential in this league.
Exactly. I mean, what is Kirk? He got $84 freaking million guaranteed. Kirk Cousins ain't never beat nobody. Do you get what I'm saying? So these Matthew Stafford, yeah, he's an all-world talent, but what has he won? He has great numbers, but he don't never take his team to playoffs. They ain't never winning. You get what I'm saying? And these guys are making all this money, and we're mad at Dak Prescott for getting his money, and he has a better body of work in these 3 years. He has the most wins besides like Tom Brady, I believe, in his 3 years.
And he still has like so much more room to improve. Like we haven't even seen the best of him yet.
Right.
So like when you talk about potential, he has that as well.
So and he's young. Why are we getting and here's the thing, he offers more than just throwing the ball. He has 18 touchdowns in 3 years. He offers the run game as well. So he's versatile. You can use him in the passing game and the run game. You get what I mean? So and his numbers bang out better than these other guys that are getting paid this mucho dollars. So why can't he get this money?
Right. Well, let's get back to the draft before we get ready to show the mock draft that we did today. And Robert Peden has a question about the draft. He says, what do you guys think of little Jordan Humphreys, wide receiver out of Texas? He was a 30 visit.
Yes, I know he was a 30 visit. I think he might have been a Dallas Day guy as well.
That's what he said he meant to say.
Yeah, 30 day
Dallas
Day guy. Little Jordan Humphrey, the only way I see the Cowboys drafting him would be like 7th round. He doesn't do anything great. He's okay. I'm a Texas fan. He was good at Texas, but I don't think he's like a Noah Brown to me, maybe a little better, but he doesn't have anything that just really stands out for me for the Cowboys to get. And he's in the 7th round pick. I feel like if the Cowboys are going to get a receiver, they want to get him higher. That's why I went in the 4th round, because I think they're going to need another impact guy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Gallup and Amari Cooper, but I want to have a 3-headed monster. You get what I'm saying? I want to have a 3-headed monster, and I want a guy that can take the top off. And right now we don't really have that guy because Tavon Austin ain't going to be there forever. So we don't have the take the top off guy, and that's what I want to see in a guy with size. 6'2", 200 pounds, that's what I'm looking at. With 4.3 speed, I'm feeling that.
What's up, Raymond Burrows? Appreciate you. And everyone who's leaving comments and left us comments today, we appreciate that. Josh Brandon says Dak is worth top 7 money in QBs, so we've just been kind of all over the place today, but appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. So was there anything else you wanted to add before we jump out of here? Because we will be back tonight most likely, and then even probably a couple more times, or at least we'll be back for the draft for sure.
Just the last thanks, just pretty much thanks. And one last question, Carlton Barber says, tell me, Ben Bayoga, I don't think he's coming to the Cowboys. I just feel like if they're going to do a defensive end, it's going to be somebody like a LJ Collier, that Jalen Ferguson kid, possibly Zach Allen from Boston College, Charles Omanaya from Texas. He's another guy that could be in the fold. Those are the guys that I think the Cowboys would go after, not Ben Bayoga, because he hasn't visited the Cowboys, and those guys are high as far as in their ranks. So I don't really think the Cowboys would go after him if those other guys are available.
Keith Jackson Sr. shouts, big game, James. Ryan Rogers says, good stuff, fella. And Robert says, thanks for answering my question. That's what we're all about here, Robert. So if it's your first time watching and you liked interacting like that, you like getting your comments read and your shout-outs, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, but also the Facebook, and make sure you turn on those notifications so you can see when we're going live. That way we can be right there. You can jump right in and we can talk to us instantly.
Yes,
So
like and subscribe and turn those notifications on so you know when we're going live, and when you can kick it, man. This is what we love about this is that we've been doing this for 2 years now, and we love just the interaction. We get to kick it. Man, we ain't got all the damn Cowboys knowledge. We know that, but I'm pretty knowledgeable about the Cowboys and what's going on. So I'm gonna pat myself a little bit on the back because I be on it all day, every day. So I ain't never
yes,
taking no break. So I'm gonna really say I am kind of know a little bit about the Cowboys and
this
football. But a lot of people that'll be in here, G, they be having some hella knowledge, dog. And I like hearing what they got to say. I like when they come with them good questions. It could trick you up. So I love it. Keep on interjecting. Keep on being interactive with us. We're going to continue to try to take this to the top. Like I said, make sure you check out this Cowboys experience because it's going to be kind of second to none. It's going to be cohesive with Silver and Blue Nation. We're going to have a lot of guys, the media role that's been talking about, and you guys are really going to love it. So not only are you going to have Silver and Blue Nation, you'll have the Cowboys experience. You'll be able to see a Tyson West Coast. He's got a big following. You'll be able to see a Law Nation. Everybody loves some Law Nation. DDP is an up-and-comer with the Dallas prospects. Mark Holmes is like the OG veteran. You know what I'm saying? He's like OG, and he's going to be on the scene. Then you got us Silver and Blue guys. We just like, you know what I'm saying? We like Wu-Tang. We got mad different styles. So, you know what I mean? So it's just going to be a whole bunch of different things going on from here and forth. So keep on staying tuned because it's going to be some fire, especially when these games start. Y'all really going to love this. What we got in store for Silver and Blue Nation, Cowboys Experience. It's going to be a really good time this year. So stay in tune, like, subscribe. Go tell your Cowboys friends. Go tell everybody. Hey, get on that Silver and Blue. Holla at Big Game James. Check out these guys. We got great interviews. We just had, like I said, Bobby Bell, Patrick Walker. I just told you, G. Remember I told you I talked to Anthony Wright. He's a former quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys. I believe he played 2000, 2001. He started like 4 games.
mm-hmm.
And if he would have played really good, I think the Cowboys would have kept him further. And he had a little injury. But I talked to him. He's going to get on the show in May. He said he's got to do some young camps that he's got for the kids out there for the next couple of weeks, but he's going to holler at us in May so we can have a good interview with Anthony Wright, some of what his experience was playing the quarterback position, so we could talk about that. But I want to have a guy that's actually played the quarterback position and with the Cowboys. So make sure you tune in for interviews. We're going to keep on having interviews. We're going to keep on having the fire coming on Cowboys Experience, Silver Blue Nation, Big Game James. So I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm telling you, it's going to be fire. So get that like and subscribe button and get your butt on this train, dog, because it's going to be some fire, man. I'm telling you.
Yes, this is the guy with all the knowledge here. He reads articles all day. That's all he does with his time. If you follow his Big Game James page, you know that he's just constantly posting every day, all day. He knows all the little cracks and nooks that you would think about knowing about the Cowboys. So, and then, you know, I got the questions like coming from you guys as fans, so it works great for us. Diego says, "Get him," and then they
Get
want
him. We getting them dang shirts popping.
And then he go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going off the shirt subject, but
Get him and Glory Hole because we got to get that Glory Hole popping. I mean, it's going down. Just like I said, we're going to be doing venues this summer. We're going to be out and about in the scene in Texas. I want everybody who's in the Texas area, when we're down in Texas, we're doing a show at, like, it could be a brewery. It could be a little restaurant. We're going to have things popping. So when we get them popping and y'all watching the show, y'all need to get down there because when y'all get down there and support, it's going to be fun. We're having giveaways. We just showed a giveaway with the Cowboys Experience that I believe if you guess a couple people in the draft, we're going to send you, I believe, a helmet. They're going to get you all kind of things, man. So the more we participate in this, y'all, the more things are going to be open and given to you guys.
Yes, you can get money off of those Cowboys Experience packages as well. And if anybody wanted more information on that, don't forget to message the page or message me afterwards or Big Game James. Either one will get you what you need to know. And Diego's asking about a schedule prediction. I think I like to wait till after the draft for that myself to give a record prediction because the draft can change your team in so many ways. So I think I will reserve my prediction. Huh?
I'm going to jump out there. I said 10 wins last year. Was I right, G?
You was right on the money.
I was right on the money. I said 10-6 last year, and I called it. So
it's on video.
Yeah, it's on video. So I called that, and I called it at the very beginning of the year, and I stayed true to it. So this year, I'm going to go and say we're going to be 12-4. Now, obviously injuries, just like G said, the draft changes a lot of those things. Injuries change everything. You get a major injury, as we saw when we had the great 12-4 season, right? With 2014, we saw the devastation next year when Tony Romo and Des Bryant went down when he was 4-12. So we know how quick it can the life of football wins can change. Is that not correct? With injuries.
That's right.
But if we stay relatively injury free, 12-4 I'm going with, and I'm gonna stay with that. No major injuries, 12-4.
Josh Grant Brandon agrees with you. Jamal Anderson says he'll be there when we be there in Texas. Jamal will certainly see you again.
Heck
and
yeah.
Hey, that's it for me, and I think that's it for you. And if like I said, subscribe on that YouTube, and you might see some exclusive content. I'm going to leave you guys off with this final look at today's mock draft from Big Game James. We'll probably have another one or two maybe before then. It's only 4 days away, so we might not have anything before then. But
Right.
here's a quick look if some prospects the Cowboys have shown interest in and might consider if they're available in these positions. So last year I know we did the Coach J's film days. I don't think we actually took any of the players that we did a session on.
Right.
But hopefully this season, it's so hard to predict. Hopefully this season we'll have a couple of these hit in the draft. We can come back and talk about it from this show. So until next week or when we see you again, which like I said, certainly for the draft, I'm Producer G.
I'm Big Game James.
And that's different than how we've done it in the past, but that's all right. But you guys be good out there and go Cowboys.
Yes, sir. Holla.